Hey, hello, my fellow property managers. Marc Cunningham at Grace Management. How long has it been since you got a call from a prospective owner client and they asked you this? Hey, I've got a property I'm interested in having you manage. It's furnished. Do you do that? And you have a decision to make there. And for most of us, we have a decision to make there because, gosh, you want the property, you want the new account, but maybe you don't specialize in furnished and you do a handful of them. But let me offer you some thoughts and suggestions on simply this question. Should you, and do we is what I mean, will we manage furnished properties? Now, before I get into those pros and cons, let me tell you this. I highly believe, I looked into my crystal ball right before I walked onto the little video thing here, and my crystal ball told me this: you are going to get more leads from owners with furnished properties than you have in the past. Do you know why? Here's what my crystal ball told me. Because so many people over the last couple years, they bought short-term rentals, they furnished them, they turned them into vacation rental by owner, VRBO. Well, VRBOs in many, many markets are not working out quite the way they were. They're not quite as hot as they were during the depths of COVID when everybody just wanted to travel. So you have less demand, and at the same time you have a ton of new supply, because I have literally a lot of friends that went out and bought these things and they furnished them all fancy and they're renting them out by VRBO, and it was great for a period of time. But suddenly people are like, okay, I'm back home now. I'm not going to travel as much. And now there's 10 VRBOs competing for their travel, where previously there was one. And now these people are sitting on top of a VRBO and they don't know what to do with it because they've got this big fat mortgage payment. They bought a lot at the top of the market during COVID, and the rents aren't coming in, the vacancies are starting to pile up, and it's just not working. So a lot of them are thinking this: I think I'm going to convert my VRBO to a long-term rental. Yeah, well, let's do that. But I've already got it furnished. They call you, and now they want to convert that furnished rental that was a short-term to a long-term rental. So that's why you're going to get more of those. Now, obviously, it's market-specific a little bit, but overall, you will. I promise you will start to get those. So when an owner client calls us and says, will you manage a furnished rental? Here is what we say. You may want to write this down so you don't forget. No. That's it. No, we won't manage a furnished rental. We won't do it. Well, why not? Why don't you do that? Mr. Owner, we highly recommend you do not long-term rent your furnished rental. Well, why not? I was VRBOing it, and I can't get as much money as I thought I could get from the company that sold it to me, and so now I need to convert it to a long-term rental. I totally get that, Mr. Owner. Here's our recommendation. Our recommendation, this may be hard to hear, would be that you unfurnish the property and rent it out unfurnished. But I've just put so much money into the thing. I got new linens and I got new furniture. Like, I don't know if that would work. Mr. Owner, let me give you 4 reasons why I believe you should not rent out your furnished as a long-term rental, why I believe it's better for you to rent it unfurnished. Oh, okay. What do you think? Well, number 1 is this. The increased rent that you're going to get from renting it furnished does not equal the increased financial investment you have to put into the property to get it furnished. Right? Here's what I mean by that, to run some numbers. If you rent it furnished long-term, now we're not talking short-term rentals here. We're talking a long-term 12-month lease that's furnished, right? So they're done with VRBO. This is not a, I want to rent it by the day. This is, I want to rent my furnished property by the month. That's important. You had to put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into that thing to get it furnished, or you will have to put money in to furnish it. And the rent you're going to get on the increase by renting it furnished probably isn't going to equate to what you paid out. It's just not. The numbers aren't there. You may get an extra $200 a month because it's furnished, but you spent $20,000 furnishing it. The numbers don't pencil out. Yeah, but I already did that. I already furnished the whole thing, so that's money that's gone. Oh, okay, I get it. Well, let me give you a couple other reasons then why I do not recommend and why we will not manage furnished properties. Number 1, it's a much smaller rental market who's looking for a long-term furnished property. See, unfurnished rental properties, we all know how to do that, don't we? Supply and demand, they bang, 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 we get it done. There's just not as many people, applicants, who are looking to rent a long-term furnished rental. Most of them come with some stuff. Now, there are some, I'm not saying there's none, but we're trying to appeal to the largest audience we can. And that means people that typically want unfurnished rentals. So it's going to be harder to rent. Well, I know, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being harder to rent and having a smaller pool of people. Okay, well then let me give you a third reason. Number 3, you put in a lot. Did you buy everything new? Yeah, I got it new. Oh, that's great. How's it look? Oh, it looks beautiful. I ordered it online and I got really nice stuff. It's high-end, high-quality stuff. Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but damage to personal property in the rental world is very, very hard to account for. Here's what I mean by that, Mr. Owner. When we place a tenant in your property and they're there for a year, if they move out of the property and there's a hole in the wall, it's very, very clear cut. We can charge them for the hole in the wall. Well, the hole in the wall wasn't there. We have to patch it. We're charging you for the hole in the wall. And most things are very, very clear on the property. However, when it comes to personal property, it gets much trickier. And the laws, maybe your state's different, but in most states, the laws give a lot more leniency to tenants on how they treat personal property because it's going to get worn. It's not real estate. It's personal property. And most security deposit return laws deal with real estate. They don't deal with personal property. So if you have a pool table in your property and they scratch the felt, that may or may not be something you can deduct on their security deposit for. Well, what do you mean? That should be straightforward. They broke it. I know it seems like it should be straightforward, but it's personal property. If they accidentally tear your sheets that you provided to them, that may not be able to be deducted for. If they break a picture on the wall, if they lose silverware. My friends, parenthetical note here. Just last week, my family went up to Minnesota for a little family reunion. And we rented a VRBO. And it was very, very nice. Right on the lake there, Sturgeon Lake, northern Minnesota. My family was in there. And I was in the bedroom. It was like a 3-bed, 2-bath, nice cabin home. I'm in the other room. And all of a sudden, I hear the shattering of glass out in the kitchen area. I think, oh no, what happened? I go out there. All that happened is a wine glass that was sitting on the table got knocked over by one of my 4 lovely children, and it shattered into a million pieces. Now, someone's got to go in and count wine glasses, don't they? Can they charge me for that? Sure they can. Will they? I don't know. And if they don't charge me for that, guess who's paying for it? The owner. So that kind of stuff happens all the time. We were there for 3 days and we broke a wine glass. We broke something else too. What did we break? Oh, we broke the paddle to do the paddle things, and my son broke the chair. That was 3 days. So think how much stuff's going to get broken, Mr. Owner, in your rental property, and a lot of it you're not going to be able to back bill to the tenant. Well, yeah, I mean, I see your point, but I think I still want to do it. Okay, let me give you one final point why I don't think you should do it. Increased liability. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, Mr. Owner, you have a coffee table that you're providing? Yeah, I got a coffee table right in the living room there. Okay, great. If tenant's little kid's running across the coffee table, and he falls off and he falls through the glass and he cuts his leg up and he's got to get stitches, it is potential that you would be liable and you would have to pay for that, because guess whose coffee table he fell through the glass on? Your coffee table. And you didn't put tempered glass on the top of that. What did you think was going to happen? Now, if you didn't put the coffee table in there, you don't have that liability. Every piece of furniture equals a piece of liability. That's what you have to think about. And that's just the world we live in. I mean, it doesn't seem right, but it's true. So you have increased liability by giving them all these things. If you leave a lawnmower in the property and they're using your lawnmower and it jams up and they reach underneath to try to unjam it and they cut their finger off, you're liable. Why? Because you gave them the lawnmower. So we don't want personal property in rentals because it increases your liability. Now, hopefully by now you have convinced them why they should just unfurnish it, let you manage it. So we say, give the furniture away, take the tax write-off, sell it, whatever you want to do. We can manage it, but we're not going to manage it furnished. Now, before I tell you why I think you as the property manager shouldn't manage it, because everything I just said was directed to the owner. Hey, Mr. Owner, here's why you shouldn't do it. Let me tell you why I think you shouldn't do it. But before I do, I want to thank the sponsor for our video here, RentVine. We moved to RentVine almost 2 years ago. 11 months, 10 months. Good move for us. Somebody asked me the other day, Mark, should I really change softwares? Should I move over to RentVine? My answer was, if you're going to be selling your business in the next 2 years, no, not worth changing over. If you plan on keeping your business for more than 2 years or growing your business, then I think it's worth it. We're glad we changed it. We use them. It's just, it works, my friends. It's very, very user-friendly. It's very, very modern. clean. Our owners like it. Our tenants like it. My team likes it. Check them out. Have them give you a demo. All I can say is we've done it for 2 years, and we're happy with it. All right, so now let me tell you why I don't think you should manage occupied property. Number one, repair requests will increase exponentially. Right? Repairs are hard. They drive us all crazy. Maintenance is a big problem. Well, now you're not only maintaining the real estate, now you're maintaining the personal property. So when the TV, like this one here is a TV, when the TV stops working, guess who they're going to call? You. When the cable goes out, they're going to call you. When the bed gets squeaky, they're going to call you. When the silverware breaks, they're going to call you. When the batteries go out on the remote control, you get my point. They're going to bother you for everything because you have to maintain that. You can say, well, I'll just write in the lease that we don't. Yeah, good luck. They're still going to call you. So your side is going to be difficult. And then lastly is this. When the tenant moves out of the property, guess how that turnover process is going to be. You know how intense that walkthrough is going to be for you? Whew. Why? Because you're going to be counting forks, my friend. You will. You provided them 24 utensils, forks, big spoons, small spoons, knives, steak knives. You better go in and count that, because if you don't, how are you going to make sure you charge back? Or can you charge back? How long have they been there? But it just sounds like a nightmare to me. As much as possible, you want to streamline and have a smooth, consistent process. So if you consistently do this, like, and it works, then great. Then forget everything I just said. But if you're considering like toying with it, playing with it, I recommend you don't do it. Hope that was helpful to you. Jump on our website, pmbuild.com. Hey, have you checked out our podcast yet? The Property Management Business Podcast. We're like 7 episodes in, and that's working really, really well. People are enjoying it because we get to do this, but on a longer scale. We can go much deeper into these things because the podcast gives me 30 minutes to speak versus the 11 minutes and 58 seconds that I'm talking right now. So check that out. Jump on our website, PM Build. You'll find whatever you need on there. Hey, if we still have, I think, 1 spot open for our Visit Grace, come to our office the end of July. We've got 1 spot left. Sit intimately with 9 other property managers and me and my team, and we will tell you exactly how we do all this stuff. This will fast forward the success of your business like few things, I promise. Jump on pmbuild.com, check out our events. We'd love to see you there. Until next time, my friends, I wish you success.